So, what was the creature at the end of Alien Romulus? Man, that thing was creepy. So, let's begin at the start of the movie. Weyland-Yutani is aware of the alien that Ripley encountered. The year is now February 9th of 2142, which is around 20 years after the events of the first film. A Weyland-Yutani ship is seen floating through space, and we see pieces of the Nostromo. The ship would focus on retrieving this hardened piece that we saw in the trailer. The science team would then cut this object open, and it's revealed that what's inside is the body of the alien from the first movie, the one that Ripley shot into space. So yeah, it survived. This space station is called Romulus, and it's owned by Weyland-Yutani. What happens here is not explained until later in the movie. Navarro would track a beacon from the space station, and the crew plans to board it so they can take the cryopods and the fuel it uses. They need these cryopods to go into cryosleep for the long journey home. The mining colony they worked for had denied them travel permits to Yuvaga, so their plan is to travel there. But they need the help of Andy the synthetic. Since he's a Weyland-Yutani synthetic, he can possibly talk to Mother, which is the system or software that helps run the ship. The Romulus station was thought to be decommissioned, but when the crew enters, they find out it was abandoned. The ship still has power, so they turn it on and find the cryopods, but search for more fuel, so the pods can last longer. When Tyler, Bjorn, and Andy explore other areas, there's a scene that shows a severed facehugger limb and a melted portion of the floor. They find more cryofuel, but the ship's systems locks the door as they entered. Rain and Navarro would go in to help the others, but find the body of a synthetic in the same room. The temperature in this area starts to get hot, which then thaws the frozen facehuggers, and that's the start of all the chaos. This is the part when Navarro gets facehugged. Eventually, they freeze the tail and get it off her, but by then, it's too late. The alien egg is already inside her. That synthetic body they found earlier is either another copy, a replica, or maybe a different model of Ash from the first movie. It even has the same voice. So he is now the science officer named Rook on the space station Romulus. He explains what happened. When they recovered the alien body, it was still alive. It then wreaked havoc on the crew aboard the station until it was finally destroyed and left hanging. Rook would then reveal they have compound Z01 somewhere within the station. Rook would then override Andy's original prime directive. He's now helping the company to retrieve compound Z01 and bring it back to Weyland-Yutani. So a bit later on, we get the scene where Navarro eventually expires, because the chestburster comes out of her chest and then it runs away. So the chestburster goes through a phase of going into a cocoon where it starts morphing into a larger adult alien. Bjorn would then use some type of electrical prod on it, which is the burn mark we see on the alien's head later on. Bjorn then gets taken out by the alien's tail and then acid blood. The film reveals that facehuggers track their prey by seeing their body heat. The crew member named Kay reveals to her brother Tyler that she's pregnant and then gets taken by the alien. Rook discovered a microorganism within the alien DNA. It's an accelerant that was tested on animals. It works to repair injuries, but later enters another phase. It changes the host DNA and mutates. Andy's prime directive is to bring the compound back to the colony for further development. The remaining crew of Rain, Tyler, and Andy would find Kay, but she's been badly hurt. Tyler gets taken out, and Kay goes to the escape shuttle. There's also a scene when Kay would inject herself with compound Z01 to heal her injuries, but it ends up doing something else to her body. Rain goes back to rescue Andy, who was left on the floor after the aliens showed up. They end up being trapped in a corridor with aliens, but Rain changes the gravity and shoots down many aliens. And after this is the scene in the trailer where they're affected by the gravity changes and they're trying to dodge those giant splatters of acid blood in the air. And this part here is the scene within the elevator shaft. It's when Andy saves Rain. It's also the last time the two of them encounter xenomorph aliens, because later on they encounter something else. And this is the part in the movie where something really weird happens, and you either like it or you don't like it. So here's what happens. Kay is put to cryosleep, but then moments later, her pod triggers an alarm. She's pulled out by Rain, and Kay gives birth to a baby human that's been affected or mutated by compound Z01 that she injected into her body herself. The credits call this creature the Offspring, who is played by Robert Bobrovsky, who is 7 feet 7 inches tall. Now, the Offspring is more human in appearance. It's very tall, with thin limbs and a face that resembles the engineers in Prometheus, but I swear the body reminds me of the Neomorphs. If you took the head of the engineer and put it on the body of a Neomorph alien, that's pretty much what you're looking at. The Offspring alien went from a newborn alien into a larger alien phase very fast. Like, it grew rapidly. Now, in the start, it had a short stubby tail with pale colored skin, so it did not have the hard exterior like xenomorphs. And on the elbow, it's got these bones sticking out. And since the face was covered in flesh, the Offspring was able to display more facial expressions. Andy did encounter the Offspring, but of course, the Offspring took him down in one single swipe, and that was it. Andy was done. So the way Rain defeats this creature is by first suiting up, then attaching her suit to this cable line, and then the small organic pouch where the creature was born in still has acid in there. So she kicks it over. The acid burns a hole in the ground, creating this vacuum effect into space. They both get pulled out, but she manages to pull herself back into the ship, and then the Offspring gets thrown into space. As soon as I saw the face of the Offspring, I was like, no, why would you do that to the engineers? Why? That is so sick and twisted, but also scary and creepy. It also shows during the ending that the science officer Rook did send a signal to Weyland-Yutani about what happened. So most likely they know that Rain already has compound Z01 in her possession and might come after her to claim it. So overall, I think the story for me was fine. It was great. I can't say it's perfect. I don't think any movie is perfect, but for an alien movie, I really enjoyed it. If I was to pick a favorite scene in the movie, then it has to be the part when Science Officer Rook mentioned that they found a microorganism within the DNA of the alien, and that was the black goo pathogen, the accelerator, and that was a connection to Prometheus. I think the only negative comment I would have is that, for me, I would have preferred if they had more characters in the story, at least for the ones that are part of this crew, because for this one, I think it was just too small. That's pretty much it. So I think my final rating for this movie might be around an 8 out of 10. Pretty good. I liked it. So what do you think about Alien Romulus? Is it a good alien movie? Tell me in the comment section. I'll see you next time.